Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking another look at construction on the Broadway subway project as it passes another major milestone in April of 2024. For those of you new to this project, it's a 5.7 kilometer extension of Skytrain's Millennium Line featuring 6 new stations in Vancouver, Canada. At a cost of $2.8 billion, construction started in May of 2021 and is on track to be completed in the first half of 2026. We will also be looking at a few of the new commercial and residential developments that are under construction or have been announced close to the new stations. Starting off at the current terminus station, VCC-Clark, a new 8-story mass timber building is going up directly beside the station. Visible from the platform, you can see the large timbers that have already been installed and the stair sets. The building code just changed in BC, allowing mass timber structures up to 18 stories tall. Moving on to guideway construction, where the new line joins the old, crews have chiseled away at concrete on the old section to uncover the rebar that the new track structure will be tied into. Continuing along on the guideway, the low walls that define each track area, known as parapets, are almost complete. By the switch points for the center storage track, you can see cutouts in the parapets where the switch equipment will pass through. Below the guideway, the 3 pillars that were built through the parking garage have had their joints filled in, and the final layer of concrete poured to match the height of the rest of the parking surface. Over in the works yard, there are fewer concrete tunnel segments in storage as tunneling operations are almost complete. We can see the remaining rings waiting to be sent off into the tunnel, some with very recent manufacturing dates and do not use until dates. We can also see a few damaged segments, most likely from when the TBMs were shuttled through the station boxes. Rail has started to show up in the works yard as well. Rail will be one of the first things to be installed once the guideway and tunnels are ready. The rail will be welded into continuous pieces, which reduces wear, noise, and overall maintenance. The new rail being installed is much harder than the rail that was used on the original Expo line. Being harder, the lifespan is expected to be closer to 60 years compared to 30 for the original Expo rail. It will also be interesting to see if rail dampers, which were tested on the Expo line between Joyce and Commercial Broadway as part of the noise study, will be installed right away. Harder rail combined with dampers can reduce overall noise levels by about 12 decibels. Once the rails go in, they can be used to aid in the installation of the center limb rail, power rails, control cables, and other track equipment. Large pieces of ventilation ducts were also spotted in the works yard. The underground portion of the line has a complex ventilation system to provide fresh air at all times and keep the stations a reasonable temperature in all seasons. As we move along to the tunnel portal area, the transition slope from the guideway to underground portion has finally taken shape. Crews are installing rebar for the top layer of this section. The short cut and cover section from the portal to the station box is having rebar installed on another roof section. And at the station site proper for Great Northern Way Emily Carr, the station has seen significant work in the past few months. The lower walls for the station entrance area are now mostly in place. Crews are working on the forms for the easternmost walls. While down below, the formwork for the concourse floor is being extended in preparation for the next section to be built. The north end of the concourse has had some walls poured, and the center columns that support the whole structure have also been extended. A major milestone has been reached by Phyllis, the tunnel boring machine responsible for the westbound tunnel, having completed her journey on March 20th, 2024. The supporting infrastructure for the TBM can now be removed, freeing up space in the station boxes and tunnels for the next phase of construction to proceed. We can already see the conveyor belts that have been removed from the tunnel and wrapped up on site. But the spoil pit was still active when filming. Elsie, the TBM responsible for the eastbound tunnel, is expected to complete boring sometime in April. We'll catch up with both TBMs later in the video. On the development front, a new proposal for the station has been brought forward with 1 20-story office tower and 2 35-story residential towers directly northeast of the station. It also includes a new public pavilion that will be built on top of the station entrance. The concept designs look very promising. To the northwest of the station, a large, seemingly forgotten pit, which was supposed to be 4 towers between 7 and 15 floors, has now been reimagined as 4 towers up to 35 floors in height. Although still in the very early stages of planning, these are the types of transit-oriented development projects that the area needs. Moving on to Mount Pleasant Station, the entrance building has had forms for a large center wall put in place. This wall divides the level with stairs and escalators on one side, and ventilation equipment on the other. Up above, crews are preparing another form section to be lifted down into place. Another section of the east side wall has been poured, while crews prepare the west side wall for its next pour. Looking down into the station box, it's a bit hard to see, but more small wall sections on the platform level have been completed. Looking at the westbound tunnel, we can see the rollers that the conveyor belt ran on. It also gives us a good look at all the supporting infrastructure that each TBM needs. It takes up a lot of space and really holds up construction at the station. The emergency exits on the west end of the station have seen progress, with the south side having had both walls poured, while the north side has had the orange waterproof membrane installed and the first layer of rebar put down. At Broadway City Hall, a major milestone has been hit with the completion of the tunnel under the Canada Line that connects the southbound platform to the concourse level. Broadway City Hall has been a challenging station to build so far, with having the still active Canada Line above it, joining the new station to the old, a major intersection between 2 arterial roads, and a major sewer relocation have all affected the project timeline. Overall, the project is behind schedule currently, at least according to the most recent official update. There were early delays with piling for the road decks at some stations. Then, the 5-week concrete strike in the summer of 2022 pushed back the start of tunnel boring operations. With tunneling being delayed, station construction couldn't proceed as originally planned. Both TBMs then spent more time at Broadway City Hall than expected, with Elsie spending nearly 5 months here last summer, and Phyllis about 2.5 months. This was mostly caused by extra geotechnical work required to safely launch and pass both TBMs under the still active Canada Line. It's expected that a revised project timeline will be released once tunnel boring operations are fully wrapped up. Tunnel boring is the last major construction element that could impact the timeline. Despite these setbacks, the project is still on budget. Back on the west side of the site, the future connection area to the Canada Line southbound platform is coming along. Whereas on the east side, the area is still having small amounts of material excavated. On the east end of the station box, outer walls are still being formed and poured. We're starting to see the forms for the center wall that will run along this part of the box. This area will also have the first set of underground crossover points. A lot of work is happening on the station box floor. We can see crews working in almost every area. We even caught a glimpse of the TBM service vehicle that carries tunnel segments all the way from the launch site at Great Northern Way Emily Carr. A clear pathway for the service vehicle is required, another reason why stations and tunnels can't have rail installed until the TBMs have finished. Since last time at Oak-VGH, the bottom floor for the station entrance has been poured. Many of the interior walls have also been built, with crews now working on installing formwork for the next level. Down in the station, a few more center pillars and walls have also been completed. Oak-VGH and Mount Pleasant stations share a very similar station design, with just minor variations. While no development has been proposed on the station site yet, across the street another new 12-story hotel has been approved for the area, as well as the eventual replacement hotel for the old Park Inn Suites, which is still standing, but will become a larger Hilton hotel once done. It's great seeing more hotel space going up just steps from the station and hospital. However, the fully integrated 39-story tower on top of the future South Granville station has finally topped out. The views of the city from up top are incredible. Looking way down to the station box below, we can now clearly see the passageway from the station entrance to the concourse level. With both TBMs clear, work on the lower station box walls and center support columns is underway. We can also see the launch structure that Phyllis used when she left here on February 2nd, whereas Elsie left on March 15th, but unfortunately we can't see under that side of the road deck. And finally at Arbutus station, it's a hive of activity. On the east end of the construction pit by Cypress Street, we get our last look at Phyllis, who is being carefully disassembled before being removed from the pit. There is no video of her breakthrough though. That's because at this station, both TBMs have to break through using a pressure vessel. The pressure vessel is a large steel cap that mounts to the tunnel entrance. It allows the TBMs to bore under pressure in the softer soil found in the area around Arbutus station, to safely complete the tunneling process without the risk of tunnel collapse. Once breakthrough is complete, the cap is removed and the TBM slides out while placing the last few tunnel ring segments. This process wasn't required for other stations because the ground is mostly made of glacial till, which can be almost as hard as concrete. The viewing area for this is quite good. If you have time over the next few weeks, I highly recommend taking a trip down to Cypress Street to check it out for yourself. Just west of that, Maple Street has reopened to vehicle traffic. A new temporary bike lane is opened as well. A tower crane has also been installed to help with construction of the extra long station box. Looking down, we can see more floor sections have been poured, with more rebar being installed for the next one. The station box is extra long here to allow for another set of switches before the station. It's a little hard to see in the distance, but the concourse level is now being prepared in the station box. With the floor done in the station entrance area, crews are working on exterior walls. Although we're not able to see it, the 60-meter tail tracks that head west from the station have started construction. At first, this area will be used for storing trains not in service, but once the line out to UBC gets approved, it'll give crews an area to work on connecting the two lines together without impacting service. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this look at construction on the Broadway subway project in April of 2024. I'll be back pretty soon with another video about the Operations and Maintenance Center 4 over in Coquitlam. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.